Little for the New York Times. Tiny houses in general are defined as less than 750 square feet. Some people even define them as less than 500 square feet. For a vacation house, a tiny house can make complete, perfect sense. In the spirit of the Airstream trailer or the little lake cabin or even a boat, it's not a new idea. But as manufacturers of prefabricated homes make these tiny houses more desirable aesthetically, people are sort of drawn to the idea. One of the things I'm really interested in is the ways in which a tiny house influences how we live. It's a lot like poetry to me. A tiny structure is sort of forcing you to decide what you'll include and what you'll leave out. And in a tiny house, you end up by default experiencing this very distilled way of living. Whether that ends up being desirable or oppressive is individual, but it does have that effect. People are starting to move away from what has been the trend, which is to build bigger and better houses as vacation houses. You know, you leave the city and you go out to this sort of bigger, better life in the country and you have all your friends out there. To me, that's sort of like the life of the 18th century British aristocracy. And I think with changes in the economy and more ecological awareness, people are rethinking how we spend our money and our time. Matthew Adams, he is 30 years old. He's a lawyer in San Francisco. He owns 160 acres of land, which he purchased very much as a steward. He bought his cabana completely unfinished, hoping to sort of make changes over time by himself. There's no bathroom and there is no kitchen. He plans to put a second one on the property and use it exclusively as a bathhouse. Matthew is very, very interesting because he can speak clearly to the ways in which being in this small space makes the land seem greater. And that's something that comes up over and over again in discussions with these tiny house homeowners. The smaller the footprint of the house, the greater the footprint of the land. And in his case, it's quite exaggerated. Would I live in a tiny house? Absolutely now. Probably not 5 years ago, but the more time I've spent at my second home, the more I realized it's the land that is the draw for me, and that intimacy with the landscape is why I'm really going there. So to give up more floor space or more square footage at this point wouldn't be a sacrifice. For the New York Times, this is Bethany Little.